Yellow Vests movement protests outside France adopting the symbol. The largest Yellow Vest protest outside France was held in Taipei on 19 December. Its principal concern was tax justice. Some protests in other countries are related to the central concerns of the French movement: taxation, high living costs, representation, and income disparity. Others are related primarily by the use of the readily available symbol. Belgium. Riot police in Brussels were pelted with billiard balls, cobblestones and rocks on 30 November, and responded with water cannons. 60 arrests were made for disturbing the public order. Several oil depots had been blocked in Wallonia as of November 16, 2018, though protesters' attempts to block the Russian Lukoil depot in Brussels were quickly thwarted by police. Some members of the movement began working to form a party for the Belgian federal elections in 2019 under the name Mouvement Citoyen Belge. On 8 December, when protesters calling for the resignation of Prime Minister Charles Michel tried to breach a riot barricade, police used tear gas and water cannons to disperse the demonstrators. The protesters involved were throwing stones, flares and other objects at police, resulting in around 100 arrests. Bulgaria. Anti-government protesters in Bulgaria began wearing high-visibility vests from 16 November. Canada. Yellow Vest protests in December in Alberta and Saskatchewan, in Western Canada's oil-producing provinces, were against the carbon price which will be implemented in April 2019, against Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and against the endorsement of the United Nations Global Compact for Safe, Orderly and Regular Migration, GCM. In Saskatchewan, December 22 protests included a 427-truck pro-pipeline convoy in Estevan, 70 people in Yorkton, and 200 people Regina. On December 15, hundreds of Yellow Vest protesters encountered counter-protesters, some of whom also wore high-visibility vests at the Alberta Legislature and Edmonton City Hall. Some protesters held pro-pipeline or anti-illegal immigration signs while counter-protesters accused them of racism. Protesters in Alberta include the Yellow Vest pro-pipeline convoy of trucks. On December 15, hundreds gathered in Calgary, where the headquarters of the hard-hit oil industry are situated, to protest a number of issues. Many of the protesters wore yellow vests and focused their frustration at the local, provincial and federal governments. According to a Global News report, the Calgary protest was hosted by Yellow Vest Canada, a Facebook group with 55,000 members. Croatia. On December 15, 2018, Yellow Vests Croatia held demonstrations in Zagreb, Pula, and Rijeka. Egypt. A lawyer was detained for 15 days after posting a picture of himself wearing a high-visibility jacket in support of the protests in France. Sales restrictions on yellow reflective vests were introduced in an attempt to prevent opposition groups. Finland. Anti-immigration protesters, who had begun demonstrations before the rise of the Yellow Vests movement, have adopted the yellow vest symbol, beginning with the demonstration on 17 December. Germany. The yellow vest symbol was used both by the left and right-wing groups, including Pegida and Aufstehen, who demonstrated at the Brandenburg Gate and in Munich. Iraq. On 5 December, Yellow Jacket-inspired protesters demonstrated in Basra, Iraq, for more job opportunities and better services. They were reportedly fired upon with live ammunition. Ireland. On 22 December, hundreds attended a Yellow Vests protest in the centre of Dublin against the perceived failures of the government. Israel. Economic uncertainty and corruption led to a Yellow Vest rally at the Azrieli Center Mall in Tel Aviv on 14 December. Italy. According to Kim Wilshire of The Guardian, the Gilets protest has inspired imitation in Italy with a pro-government movement, citing an Italian organizer saying, "We are inspired by the French Gilets jaunes, but we are motivated by other issues. We, unlike the French, support our government. What we protest against is Europe. We want Europe to no longer interfere with Italian politics." Jordan. According to the UAE-based The National, protesters in Jordan criticizing the economic situation in the country began donning high-visibility jackets as protests spread outside of the capital Amman. Netherlands. On 1 December, A small number of Yellow Vest demonstrators protested in Dutch cities. Further demonstrations occurred on 8 December, where peaceful protesters marched through Rotterdam. Pakistan, hundreds of engineers staged a day-long protest at Lahore wearing yellow vests. Poland, on 12 December, a group of farmers blocked the A2 motorway 30 kilometers outside of Warsaw, demanding compensation for pigs they were required to slaughter, and protesting the importation of Ukrainian agricultural products unlabeled with respect to their country of origin. The agricultural minister Jan Krzysztof Ardanowski met with the protesters to explain that their demands were met already. Portugal, on December 21, 2018, a Colete Amarelos or Yellow Vest rally was held under the slogan Vamos parar Portugal, roughly translating to Let's bring Portugal to a halt. Russia, on December 23, 2018, Blue Bucket demonstrators at Sokolniki Park wore yellow vests at a rally against parking fee increases in Moscow. Serbia, a civil rights organization Struzina Akcija Krov nad Glavom started using yellow vests in its protests to oppose the eviction of a resident in the Marajevo district of Belgrade and to show solidarity and common cause with French Yellow Vest movement. Parallel to that, on 4 December, Vasko Obradović, the leader of the far-right Very Party, called for demonstrations about high fuel prices in Serbia on 8 December. Taiwan, the Tax and Legal Reform League, demonstrating for tax justice since December 2016, organized a Yellow Vests March on 19 December. Tunisia, a derivative group, the Gilets Rouges, Red Vests, emerged on Facebook, calling for protests against the economic situation in the country.